Dr. Foster, in his book, comments on how she was so instrumental in doing so many things for him. She really helped him really get out there. Dr. Kaiser did so much, he said, to help him. He mentions her all through his book.
Amen.
Dr. Thomas Mason, graduate of Sumner High School in the late 50s, early 60s. I taught Sunday school, and Tommy was one of my students. Tommy Mason was part of the Robbins family. You probably remember the Robbins and Robbins contractors. Well, he was part of that family, and they lived at 4th and Greeley. I'm getting ready to brag a little bit now.
Okay.
Dr. Cynthia Owens Harris, presently now the director of the Institute of Public Health at FAMU. Only the second school of public health in the state of Florida. She was recruited by the state of Florida to start this school at FAMU. After there, she initiated the first doctoral program for public health in the state of Florida. Although not a graduate of Sumner High School, her mother, the late Lily Owens, and her father, Chester Owens, were. Dr. Foster was born August 4th, 1919, in Kansas City, Kansas. His parents were Frederick Foster, and his mother was Vernita Highwarden Foster, who described him when he was born as a special child. He was the youngest of 4 children. He stated that his family were committed Christians. He went to Sunday school and church every Sunday with his grandmother at First African Methodist Episcopal Church. Robert, you got that? Robert Jenkins does history at Sunday. He went there. That's why he attended church. He lived with his mother and stepfather at 359 Troop, right across the street from Northeast Junior High School, and at the home of his step-grandfather and step-grandmother at 410 Quindera Boulevard. He spent more time there than he did at the house on Troop. He lived next door to Josephine Campbell Vanderbilt Boone. Many of you may remember Vanderbilt Law School.
Yeah.
She was a former teacher and counselor in USD 500.
All right.
And they remained good friends until his death. He sent her reams of material, and she followed his career. And before she passed, she gave all that material to me. I have a stack of material on
Praise
that
the Lord.
tall at the house. Thank goodness she gave that to me. He states in his book, and I'm quoting, although teachers were strict disciplinarians too, they were comforting, inspiring, nurturing, and facilitators. They believed in my classmates and me.
All right.
In our innate ability, they saw our potential, uncovered our talent, and aroused our interest. As a young teenager, he mowed lawns, pruned shrubs, washed cars, carried newspapers. From his venture, he purchased a C Melody saxophone that cost him around $50. He attended the Horner Institute of Music in Kansas City, Missouri, and his instructors informed him that the instrument was obsolete. He suggested that he purchase a B-flat clarinet before returning to school, which he did. When school began, he joined the Northeast Junior High School clarinet class of the junior high school band. When he entered Sumner High School in the 10th grade, he joined the band and made rapid progress. Mr. Gaston Sanders, which he gives credit really for his career, appointed him director of the band and orchestra. He tuned and directed the high school band each day for 3 years, 1934 to 1937. In addition to his high school band, school studies, he helped his grandfather, who was a caretaker of a Masonic Hall located at 5th and Washington Boulevard. And some of us know a little bit about that. His chores included scrubbing the wood floors, cleaning the windows, dusting and polishing the furniture, sweeping the staircase, and cleaning the restroom. He graduated from Sumner High School in 1937. You have the program. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but when you get home, you have time to look at it. He enrolled at the University of Kansas in the fall of 1927 with very limited resources, as did so many people who left Sumner and went to KU. And it's amazing when you look at the number of people who went to KU and other colleges with no resources. He sought employment as a waiter in the white sororities and fraternity houses. He worked 6 hours a day in exchange for lodging and boarding in the basement of these houses. I've heard that story from 2 or 3 people. Cordell D. Meeks, Sr. used to tell that story. Plus a stipend of $3 to $4 a week, and he said he was a man of means. He said that he had to compete in the classroom with the same students whom I served breakfast, lunch, and dinner on a daily basis. Because of strict segregation in KU, he could not attend any of the social functions on the weekend. He could only eat food and drink meals at one table reserved for colored students at KU in the student building. After enrolling at KU early in the fall of 1937, he spent many hours practicing for his audition for the band. He explained, I'm quoting again, "A friend of mine and I both had new instruments. We came to KU early for audition. I remember the night before audition were to be held, we both went to the stadium and practiced on the field until midnight. The next morning, we were confident that we were prepared because confidentially, we were both excellent musicians. Both of us felt good about our individual auditions. We started getting worried when we didn't hear the results. To make a long story short, we didn't make the band because we were black."
Amen. I know that happened.
As graduation time approached in 1941, he went to his dean's office and asked him what he planned to do after graduation. He replied that he wanted to be a conductor. The dean replied that he might want to give more thought to that because there were no job openings for colored conductors. Dr. Foster stated that he was stunned for only a moment, but those comments became a catalyst that instilled within a deep commitment to disprove his assertion.
I know that's right.
While at KU, though, he met a very special lady named Mary Ann Duncan, and they fell in love and agreed to get married without notifying any members of their family.
Oh, wow.
And take in consideration that time, that was strange. So they eloped and were married August 8, 1939. He was a sophomore in college. His first job after graduation was at Lincoln High School in Springfield, Missouri, where he stayed until 1943. In 1943, he was offered a job at Fort Valley State College in Fort Valley, Georgia. At the college, he had 3 field assignments: Department of Music, Director of Fort Valley State Choir, and the Assistant Professor of Music.
Amen.
He stayed at this college. He said his stay at this college was a very, very enjoyable one. He enjoyed this.
Amen.
During the summer of 1944, he was offered employment at the prestigious Tuskegee Institute in Tuskegee, Alabama. He taught and directed the band for 2 years at this college. In 1946, he was offered employment at Florida A&M College. Upon arrival, he found that the music department was housed in inadequate facilities. There was no band room, and there were 16 or 17 broken instruments, of which only 3 or 4 were salvageable. He had the formidable task of starting from zero. At the opening of the school in September 1946, he had organized his first band with 45 members. He had done some recruiting. Among them were veterans from World War II, including some from Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri. He created a band motto. because he needed something to help guide band students to a higher place, a level of excellence for which they were all striving, including himself. Their motto was number one, highest quality of character. Number two, achievement in academia. Number three, achievement in leadership. Number four, perfection of musicianship. And number five, precision in marching. And number six, dedication to service. That was a motto that he established, and that's what they worked from. Within 2 years, the band had grown to 72 members. In 1950, the marching band consisted of 110 members and became widely known as the Marching 100. Dr. Foster said he realized that he had, in his own words, grow his own crop. This in terms of faculty members, recruiting, evaluation, and training. He felt that a successful program, including conducting themselves with strong ethics, character, and respect in interacting with students, the faculty must enhance the self-esteem of students both individually and collectively. They must make students their first and foremost concern for care and nurturing. Because of this, he believed that the greatness of the band is not in the obvious flashness of the band, but in its superior musicianship. That separated it from other bands. In 1953, Florida Agricultural and Mechanical College became Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, or FAMU. What the young man with the FAMU thing?
No, he had to go. He had to go teach it.
All right. In 1963, the band made its first national television debut at the Pro Bowl game that was televised by CBS from the Orange Bowl Stadium in Miami, Florida. This initial television appearance seemed to have set the stage or opened the door for many similar appearances, including the 1969 Super Bowl. Some of the band's national television appearances, including the 1964 Pro Bowl game, the 1964 NFL Championship game, the 1969 game between the Boston Patriots and the Miami Dolphins, the 1975 NFL game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Redskins. 60 Minutes documentary on CBS in 1983. ABC News 2020. U.S. Information Agency TV satellite file for worldwide coverage, and many, many other appearances. Dr. Foster stated that he wanted a special sound. And I'm quoting, "The concept of FAMU band sound had its beginning during my experience as a student director at Sumner High School Band and Orchestra. The image imprinted during my junior and senior high school experience where I played the violoncello, I'm going to spell it because I can't pronounce it, Violoncello, that's the instrument that he played, was profound. I wanted so very much to hear the sound in my head played by musicians. I wanted to conduct a group of outstanding young musicians at FAMU as they played the sound I heard since my high school days in Kansas City, Kansas." Dr. Foster wanted the best, so he sought out the bands who he thought was the best. He thought that the University of Michigan had the best marching band in the country. The director was Dr. William Rebel. The arranger for this band was Jerry Bellick. So he invited him to FAMU to conduct a workshop on marching band for himself and his staff. The results were profound. In 1974, he added Lindsey Sargent to the staff. With his ability to arrange music, the missing link in the music sound was complete. He states, "The sound that I had been trying to produce since my years at Sumner High School Marching Band and Orchestra was now a reality." By 1995, the marching band had grown to 329 musicians. Dr. Foster earned his Master's of Arts degree from Wayne State University in 1950, and the Doctor's of Education degree from Teachers College at Columbia University in 1955. Because of the recognition of the FAMU band in the mid-50s, his doctoral dissertation was written in 1955, was accepted with no references. 13 years later, it was published under the title Band Pageantry and has been the Bible for marching band directors for 30 years or more.
Well,
This is the book. It's a doctoral dissertation. One of the interesting things is while we were doing the Sumner Alumni Room, the music teacher Sumner came in the room and he was looking around early on, and he saw the book and he came over. We had this table, we had some of Dr. Foster's stuff on it. He stopped, he said, well, wait a minute, he saw this book. He said, you don't mean this guy went to Sumner High School? I said, yep. He said, that's the band we use at his university. This is known as the Bible in marching band. Dr. Foster was asked to serve as director of the McDonald's All-American High School Band in September 1980. He served in this capacity until 1991. He had become a national celebrity. He was accorded such titles as one of the greatest band directors and the country's greatest band director. The band performed in such places as Rockefeller Center in New York on the Today Show, Terminal Roses Parade in Pasadena, California. The band performed in such places as Carnegie Hall, Town Hall in New York City. As director of the band, he had complete responsibility and authority for the selection of band members. And they tried to have at least one band member from every state in the United States. But he had the authority for selection